Philippines, good day Cebu. Welcome to another episode of Hotseat, presented by Kanaas Gikan sa Amihanan. I am Lance Barreto, and it is my pleasure to host the show with our Associate Editor Sir Ron Jacob Unabia, Senior News Correspondent Ma'am Janine Recopilacion, and my fellow Junior Correspondent IG Orculio. On our 13th episode, we are very lucky to have our guest on the show. She is none other than Miss Mav Gonzales of GMA TV. Good day, ma'am.
Hello, good day, everyone. Hello.
So, without further ado, ma'am, let's begin the interview with the very first question. Is being a TV news reporter a dream? Was it your dream since you were a kid?
You know what's funny? It wasn't. Even when I was in college, I was doing writing. I majored in journalism, but it was mostly about writing. So I was never the person who wanted to be on TV to report the news. I know some people really dreamed of doing that since they were children, but that wasn't me. I was more of into writing. It just so happened that when I was on coverage for one article that I had to write, there was an opportunity to join GMA News. The TV part of GMA. I was already writing for GMA, and I think from there, it just matched the skills that I had, and it was fun. It was exciting because it's not what I was used to doing. Because I was used to doing more of the fun side of things, features and sports, and then I was just pushed into hard news. So it was new, and well, I think I like it. I mean, I've been here for almost a decade, so I think it suits me.
Okay, that's very nice to hear, ma'am, that you like it and it suits you, your current job right now. Then, who influenced you to join the media industry? Like, what was the story there? How did you get into it?
I think if we're talking about the news, it was really just a series of events. There was no one influence that made me realize that, hey, I want to do this. But when I was a kid, I joined Chikiting Patrol. It was an educational TV show on GMA as well. I was 8, and I had an aunt who worked for one of its major sponsors, and she said, "Do you want to audition for this?" And I was a child. I didn't know what I was doing. I just went there, and we were literally playing on the set, and that was the audition. And that was what started it. I think after that, some connections were built because I was doing TV for like 6 years or 7 years. But if we're gonna talk about the news, there really was no one influence. It just so happened. That's why I always tell people, I always show people that, you know what, if this wasn't God, I don't know what it is, because I really didn't plan this. I didn't pursue it, but somehow it happened. Like, things just fell into place. So I felt like this is really where God placed me, where God wanted me to work.
Wow, okay, that was an amazing answer, Pudmam. Thank you for that. And now I'm going to turn you over to one of my other co-hosts, my friend, Mr. Isaac Orculio, for your next question.
Hi, Miss Gonzales.
Hi, Isaac.
Okay, here's your question. You belong to GMA News Public Affairs, and we all know your colleagues are some of the most decorated journalists in the country. Was there a certain kind of pressure in your shoulders knowing that you belong to the respective journalist?
I think there's always a pressure if you're in the media industry, not just because you're working in GMA or for any other big network. I think especially now, there's really a big pressure on the media because we know how sometimes you're at odds with certain personalities. So, there's really a pressure for the media to perform well, to be accurate, to be truthful, to be fast in what we report. And at the same time, given that we are in the middle of pandemic, it's really important that the media do what it has to do and fast without compromising quality. But with regards to GMA in general, I think there was never a pressure. I think it was more of an inspiration to be better. Like, for example, me, when I went into GMA, I had zero experience doing TV journalism because I told you guys I was writing. But then when I went in, they made me do 1 week sort of like an internship, not really internship, but like you follow a senior reporter, you watch how he or she does things. I followed a few of our senior reporters, and mostly I was following Cara David. And Ate Cara, we know she's one of the most um you said most decorated. I think that's a proper term for most decorated journalists of GMA. And she she never made me feel like, oy, baguhan ka. You have much to learn, so watch me. She was more of, okay, bago ka. Here, I'll tell you everything I know so you do the job better, you do the job faster. So it was more of a mentoring kind of thing. It was never that we were pressured to live up to what our seniors were doing. It was more of, okay, we are seniors, we'll help you the best way we can so that we can all grow as a network and as a department.
Ano po ba yung hindi niyo po malilimutan na naituro po ni Miss Cara David po sa inyo?
I think it was really the writing, because Ate Cara is a writer. Before she became a reporter, she was writing for GMA. And I think that was one of our points of intersection because I also wrote before I became a TV reporter. So, merong mga seminars ang Eyewitness, especially about writing. And ginagawa niya yon in front of students, in front of professionals sometimes. But then, when she was mentoring me, she took out her laptop, nag-seminar kaming dalawa lang. As in, tinuruan niya ako na one-on-one. So, she was really very hands-on. And she was teaching me na, you know what, it's different the way you write for TV, the way you write for web, the way you write for radio. Basta iba-iba lahat yan. And she was teaching me the most effective ways to write for TV. And even now, like for example, there are a few younger reporters compared to me in GMA now. I'm now the middle age. And whenever I get to talk to them, I pass on to them the tips and the tricks that Ate Cara taught me, because I feel like it's really a way to get people involved in watching the news na hindi lang puro facts. Because the way Ate Cara writes, it really tugs on your emotion. Parang may puso yung report. Hindi lang siya puro bam, 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 what, why, who, what. Maganda siya. Kaya mas nakaka-relate, mas nakaka-engage sa viewers. And that's one of the things that I really remember from her.
Isaac, next question.
Okay. So you're always been known to be a great journalist, no? So what is the most difficult thing about being a journalist?
I think the most difficult thing is the schedule. It's funny because it's not really a skill, pero there are some days that you come home from work at like 1 a.m. and you take a bath, you eat dinner, and then your call time is 4 a.m. So imagine mo, what do I do with my life in 3 hours lang na that's my me time, and then I go back to work at 4 a.m. And during those times, you really question, ba't ako nagtatrabaho dito? But then you go back to work and then you do the things that you have to cover. And you see, especially when we cover the hard stories like bagyo, yung mga special coverage, especially ito, yung nagka-pandemic tayo, you see how people react to your stories. You see how people really need to be heard, and you're the only avenue they have to be heard. Then it makes it worth it. Yun lang talaga, yung schedule lang talaga, dahil you will really sacrifice a lot of personal time. Your holidays are at work, birthday mo nasa work, birthday ng pamilya mo nasa work ka. And I think it was a sacrifice not just for me but for my family and for my friends as well. Because we're very close with family, but ever since I joined GMA, parang halos lahat ng family occasions, ako yung wala. So parang if you FaceTime na lang nila ako, parang nandun ako. But they understand and they know na this is needed for my job, so they just support me.
Were there times po ba na you feel burnt out with your work, tapos parang na-feel mo na ayoko nang magpatuloy? Meron bang mga episodes na ganun?
It happens once a week. It happens once a week. I think if you've been in this job for this long, halos isang dekada na ako, lalo na yung mga mas senior sa akin, it happens so often. As in, I think kasi when you're younger, mas mas excited ka na parang, oh my God, first time ko makakalabas sa TV, first time ko mag-cover ng sunog. There are so many firsts, and there are so many things that you feel like you have to prove. But as you get older, you do the same things over and over again. It starts to get tiring sometimes. But then there will always be that moment of realization na parang gusto ko na mag-resign. Tapos parang maisip mo, ano gagawin ko after? My skills are for this. And I feel like I'm doing more of an impact on our country, on my society, or even in my community and my family with this job. So, okay, sige, dito na lang ako. So kung burnout, madalas talaga, lalo na ngayon na, medyo mahirap yung sitwasyon ngayon. Pero, I think, kaya saludo rin ako dun sa mga kasama kong journalists. Not just the reporters, but even the crew, even yung mga nagsusulat sa dyaryo, yung mga prod team na never nyo nakikita, but they're working 24/7 din. I think it was really a test of our dedication to the job, what happened last year and this year, because nakita namin how dangerous it is to go out, and we have had people in our team die because of COVID. But then you go back to kung hindi natin gagawin to, sinong gagawa? So okay, sige, let's go out again.
So, ma'am, journalism has really become a passion for you, di ba? And with all the things that you have gone through, with all the sunog, the bagyo, and then most recently the pandemic, out of all of those, I ask you, what is the most memorable coverage you have so far? Your most memorable coverage.
Do you want positive or negative? Because they're different.
Anything you can give me. Anything you can give.
Let's have first po sa positive po muna.
Yes, positive. Let's have positive.
Sa positive, I always say the Pacquiao coverages. Kasi I'm the sports reporter of GMA. And it's always an experience whenever you cover Senator Pacquiao's fights. I've been following him for isang dekada na ako sa GMA. So for 9 years, I've been following him for 9 years. And it's really fun to see how this Filipino who came from nothing, na kapag lumalabas kami sa ibang bansa, sobrang pinagkakaguluhan, sobrang in-idolize ng mga tao, hinahabol siya. It's really amazing to see for me as a Filipino. And nakakatuwa dahil talagang parang nakikerry niya yung buong bansa. As in,
nakakataba ng puso.
Oo, minsan may mga foreigners na parang Filipinos parang, oh my God, kung walang Manny Pacquiao, alam kaya nila kung anong nangyayari sa Pilipinas. And it's fun as well for me because I get to go back to my roots, which is sports. Dahil ngayon, usually sa GMA, I cover hard news, I cover the Senate as well. So kapag kami laban si Senator Pacquiao, it's a good experience for me because I get to go to the lighter side of things. And I get to meet personalities na feeling ko never ko naman ma-meet kung hindi dahil doon. Like NBA players, mga Hollywood actors, pupunta sa training camp niya. So it's really an experience. Now, the negative, I think until now, I consider this a negative coverage. Negative coverage talaga. Pero nung nag-start yung war on drugs, I'm not talking about any issue in particular, but just the experience of covering the war on drugs. I was covering it for several months on the night beat, and parang yung 10 patay na i-cover mo sa isang gabi, it was normal. And it's not normal. It's not supposed to be normal na makakita ka ng ganung karaming patay. Na meron lang ganung karaming patay in one night is already abnormal. And that you have to see it. You have to deal with the police, with all the suspects, and with the families. Yun talaga yung nakaka-stress. Lalo na kasi minsan may mga malaking stories. Like, alala niyo si Pian de los Santos, yung namatay na nakita na wala talaga lumalaban. So yung mga ganung stories, susundan mo yun kasi magkakaroon investigation. So you follow up with the investigation, you go to the family, you go to the wake and the funeral, and it really drains you of your energy dahil ako mas kaya ko tumingin sa patay kaysa sa burol. Ayoko ng burol kasi kapag nakikita ko na umiiyak, makaawa yung pamilya, yung mga kaibigan nung namatay, as in parang, oh my God, from 100, zero energy ka agad. It was really a draining time. And some of my colleagues quit during that time because sabi nila sobra na yung mental stress nila, yung emotional stress. One of my fellow reporters was seeing a psychiatrist dahil napapanaginipan niya ng mga patay. Minsan ako nakakapanaginip ako na parang tinaniman ako ng shabu, hinuhuli ako, parang gano'n. So parang sobrang naka-apekto siya sa mental well-being ko. And you can't do anything because that's your job. Anong gagawin mo? Sabihin mo, ayoko mag-cover dito. Hindi ka naman pwede pumili ng i-cover mo. So that was really a tough time because you know that you have to do it, but it's just so hard to do it.
Bearing the feeling of hopelessness po, kumbaga.
Oo. At saka na, rin, na...
Feeling na wala kang magawa.
Yes, na wala kang magawa and na the feeling na this is happening around me every night. Ganito karami nawawalan ng anak, ng tatay every night. It's just really heartbreaking to see.
So, one of the takeaways that I got from when you shared about the negative experience, that it's really challenging because you have to go through you have to experience as well the hardship and the pain of the family. So I just want to say this, that I salute you, Mom. Thank you for being there for us, being on the front lines to cover the news that's really most important. And on the topic of covering important news, as a journalist, how do you fight fake news and misinformation? What's the way to fight it?
In GMA, we adhere to the 2-3 source rule, meaning if you get a particular information that you know is kind of contentious, you know is kind of controversial, well, even if hindi naman masyado controversial, basta you get a vital piece of information, you make sure you get it not just from one source. You cross-check it, you verify it with a second and a third source. Because that's the only way na malalaman mo na totoo siya kasi marami nang nagsabi. And we base a lot of our reports on documents because papers can't lie. And if na-forge man yan, nandyan yung papel. So you have basis for it. And as much as possible, we try to be fair in terms of airtime as well. Like for example, there's an issue. Now, ito napaka-arte ng GMA dito. Like for example, your report is 1 minute long. You put 30 seconds for the pro side, you put 30 seconds for the con side. As in, literal na binibilangan siya. And for elections, halimbawa, you have to be fair kasi election yan. Okay, ilan yung tumatakbong senador? 40. 40, i-ere mo lahat yan. So parang ako, oh my God, 40, i-ere mo talaga sila lahat. But, alam mo yung pati mga nuisance candidate, na minsan isip mo, bakit pa natin ito nire-report? Ba't natin ito kino-cover? But then, GMA really wants to do coverage to everyone to be fair. Kasi nga naman, pareho naman sila ng tinatakbo ang posisyon. Eh, lahat sila, bigyan natin ng airtime. So we really try to get the side and try to air the sides as equally as possible whenever we do our reports. Even online, when the articles come out, ganun din na talagang there's always an attempt to get verification from an authority or side or an opinion from someone na inaatake dun sa particular report na yun. At saka lalo na sa social media, ang daming pwedeng fake na mag-post. Ang dali-dali naman din mag-cross-check sa social media. Makita mo minsan yung account, 5 lang yung kaibigan, created last month. 'Di ba? Parang it's so easy. It's so easy to tell which is a troll account. So, kapag kami nakikita kaming mga ganon, tas alam mo talaga na troll account siya, we just block them. Kasi parang, kesa mag-comment ka pa ng mga misinformation mo dyan sa mga official social media accounts namin, then you block them. Or sometimes, kapag legitimate yung question nila, you answer them with facts. And most of the time, if it's a real person, and talagang misinformed lang sila, or confused lang sila, they will react positively to what you tell them. Kung kinokontra ka pa rin at napaka-weirdo ng mga sagot nila, alam mo na troll yun. Which, block mo na lang yan kasi wala kang magagawa to convince that person otherwise.
Okay, thank you for that, Ma'am. Ma'am Janine, you have the one.
Yes po. Were there times po ba na sinasabihan kayo upfront, sinasabihan na hindi naman totoo yung mga sinasabi mo, yung mga nire-report mo, pinupunan nyo lang or kinukuha nyo lang yung gusto nyong i-report? Meron po ba mga episodes na ganun?
Marami. At saka hindi lang nga na ina-attack yung report mo. Minsan pati pagkatao mo ina-atake. Yung parang tipong ang dami ko nang na-receive na mga death threat, na mga threat na sana, ma-rape ka paglabas mo, mga ganun-ganun na parang, dilawan ka or minsan naman tawag dito, ka-DDS ka. As in, from both sides din na merong mang-aaway sa'yo. And I think as a journalist, kailangan makapalbalat mo. Hindi pwedeng sensitive ka kasi hindi ka tatagal. Tsaka, alam mo naman na yung ginagawa mo is just your job. If you know that you're doing your report fairly, truthfully, and accurately, then kebs ko sa kanila, 'di ba? Ibablock na lang din kita kung ganyan lang yung sinasabi mo sa akin. Sometimes it's just annoying to read na paulit-ulit na ano ba to? Parang instead of having discourse online, which is the main reason kung bakit tayo naglagay ng social media platforms, parang pambabash lang yung nilalagay. Kapag ka gano'n na hindi nakikinig, hindi nakikipag-diskurso, i-block na lang talaga yun kasi walang kahihinatnan.
Hindi matapos-tapos, ano.
Oo.
Pero po, sabi nyo kanina na hindi nyo talaga dream ang maging isang news reporter. Pero if you did not become a journalist po, what would you have been? Ano po ba ang isang Mav Gonzales kung hindi siya naging reporter?
Actually, I don't know. Pangarap ko maging travel photographer. Pangarap ko lang naman yun. Medyo malabo namang mangyari yun. Pero I had the fallback of being a lawyer because I like reading and mahilig ako sa mga yung mga legal series, yung mga ganun. And we had lawyers in the family. Siguro din, posible rin na nag-corporate. Because it was also an option for me na yung mag-PR, marketing for a company. It just so happened na parang after college, ito kaagad yung tumambad sa akin, yung media. So parang wala nang chance na pumunta pa ako sa iba kasi ito na, nangyari na siya. Tapos yun na, nag-stay na ako.
Or how does a typical day go for you? Yung kung wala ka sa courtroom, wala ka sa newsroom, anong ginagawa ng isang Mav Gonzales?
As in on a day off or kapag nag-field ako?
On a day off po.
On a day off. On a day off, sasagarin ko talaga yung tulog ko. Kaya ako kunwari, magigising ako lunch na gano'n. Tulog talaga ako kasi parang yun yung kulang for the whole week na nagtatrabaho ko eh. And, well, before, lumalabas kami ng family ko. Every weekend, lumalabas kami ng family ko. Pero ngayon, bawal kasi eh. So, sa bahay lang kami. Ayan, yung Netflix, yung, ayan, lahat yata na series ng pelikula na panood na namin ng pamilya ko dito. And we like to eat out. So, kapag a day off, yun yung parang kain masarap kasi hindi ka nagmamadali. So, magpapadeliver kami ng pagkain. I play mobile games. Yun yung nakakaubos din ng oras ko. And I read a lot. So, normally I would be the one to travel. Pero dahil bawal, dahil may pandemya, dito lang ako sa bahay talaga. Hindi ako pasaway, hindi ako lumalabas ng bahay.
Paano naman po during pag nasa field po?
Pag nasa field, usually, imimit ko na lang yung crew ko or minsan nadaanan na lang nila ako sa bahay pag on the way. Tapos, when we get to our coverage, we do everything there. So, interview, kung kunwari, like for example, kanina, pagbabakuna kasi yung storya namin. So, we were there ng, kami dumating? Mga 10, ganyan. Tapos, we stayed there until mga 1. So, nag-cover kami lahat ng interviews, nagawa na namin noon. Tapos, magta-time code ka to get yung mga sound bites, yung reports, and then magsusulat ka. And then, siguro lahat ng bagay, natapos mo na by 3:30 or 4. Ayun. So, usually we just eat in between dahil wala talagang time. At bawal din naman dine-in, so saan ka kakain. Kaya, madalas, bili na lang kami, kakain na lang kami sa sasakyan ng team ko. Tapos, we usually just do our VOs for the reports sa cellphone na lang kasi bawal din kami pumasok sa loob ng opisina. Kasi one of the protocols yun para hindi maghalo yung field and yung production personnel para iwas hawaan ng COVID. So, today, my shift was 9 to 5. So, 5 o'clock literal, tapos na. Kaya, masaya ako ngayon. Pero usually, nag-extend yan. Usually, matatapos ako talaga mga 6 or 7. Pag may so, naka-10 ka na matatapos. Ayun. So, medyo nakakaubos siya ng oras. So, makakalimutan mo rin paminsan na may pandemya kasi nasa labas din ako ng mahabang oras.
You mentioned kanina po na nanonood po kayo ng Netflix. Ano po mga series or mga movies po na sinusubaybayan niyo po?
Yesterday, the last thing we watched was Gifted. Lumang movie na siya. Di ko alam ba't ngayon lang namin napanood. About this
Gifted by
child. Yung kasama
Gifted Child.
Evans. Oo, parang Gifted Child yung story nung palabas. Mahilig kami sa mga murder documentaries. So, yung mga Making a Murderer, yung Don't F with Cats, mga ganyang palabas yan. Tapos, yung kapatid ko mahilig din sa K-drama. Pero, hindi naman namin sa Netflix pinapanood yun. So, nanonood kami ng mga ganon. Tapos kanina, bago ako umakyat dito para mag-interview, ay nanonood kami ng BTS sa baba. Mahilig kami sa BTS. So, pamilyang to, puro ARMY. Kaya, yan yung mga pinagkakaabalahan namin.
RB pala.
So, ma'am, you mentioned earlier, ma'am, that you were on the field this morning from 9 to 5. So, were you there making a news report like that?
Yes. For Bento Pato. So, I think it's gonna air in a few minutes.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna tune in later. So, with that said, ma'am, we all know. I mean, we here at Kanaas, we know how stressful it is to find the stories and to beat the deadlines. For you, ma'am, as a GMA reporter, how do you deal with the stress and how do you de-stress?
How do I de-stress? I think ako kasi, parang kapag umiinit na yung ulo ko dahil sa coverage, parang lang ako, kailangan ko lang kumain ng masarap at kailangan ko lang matulog. Yun. Before there were times when I was younger and nung pwede mag-travel, kapag sobrang stressed ko talaga, ang gagawin ko is, aalis ako. Kapag sobrang burnt out ko na or sobrang stressed ko sa life. Pero hindi natin naman ma-afford yung luxury na yan ngayon. So, hanggang bahay lang. Lang ako. Mananahimik lang muna ako kapag stressed na ako. Matutulog at kakain. Literal, mag-hibernate.
So, what kind of foods, ma'am, do you like to eat when you're stressed? What are your stress foods?
Oh, I like Japanese. Japanese food. Ano bang particular? Mahilig ako sa maki, sa ano pa ba? Sashimi, not so much sushi. At saka, mahilig kami sa mga perito. So, yung mga chicken, pa-deliver, ganyan. Burgers, fries, yan yung mga nagpapasaya sa amin. At saka maligo ka sa kape. Yun talaga. Iced coffee is life dito sa bahay namin. Meron kaming supply sa ref na hindi pwedeng nauubos kung hindi mawawala yung mga tao.
And now, right now, ma'am, we have reached another final question, which is, what is your message for Kanaas and its members as we celebrate our 10th anniversary?
You know what? Congratulations. Una sa lahat, halos magkaedad na tayo sa industriya. At congratulations sa 10th anniversary ninyo. And I'm really hoping that you continue this. Alam ko na it's really hard to be a journalist. It's really hard to practice journalism, especially in the midst of this pandemic. But like what I keep on telling myself, kapag nasa-stress na ako at kapag ayoko na, hindi ka napunta dyan if God didn't have a purpose for you. If God didn't believe you're needed there, then you wouldn't be there. And kapag nasa-stress kayo, itulog niyo lang yan, ikain niyo lang yan, bukas do the same thing. And isa pang wish ko lang sana is that we see each other on the field soon, na magbukas na ang borders and we all get to go out and sana magbalik na sa normal and we can go back to doing what we love to do, which is to tell stories of other people and to give voice to people that we wouldn't normally be able to meet if we weren't journalists.
Well,
Thank you
for that, ma'am.
Thank you so much po. Pero po, last question na lang po. It's not more like a question, pero ano pong gusto niyong sabihin sa mga, kasi lately, pagiging journalism na po kasi, parang nag-iiba na po yung yung pagtingin ng tao, yung ibang tao, kasi they were like, ang hirap, parang nandun na sa point na, ay, wag na lang, ayoko na lang mag-journalism kasi ganito lang pala yung mangyayari. So, with all the happenings na, with all the people from the journalism field na yung mga nangyayari sa kanila tapos makikita lalo na sa social media, ano pong masasabi niyo po or ano pong gusto niyong sabihin sa mga aspiring na gusto pa rin maging journalism pero natatakot lang?
Huwag kayo ma-discourage sa nakikita nyo sa social media or kahit sa nakikita nyo sa field. If you feel na ito talaga yung gusto nyo, at least give it a try. Like, I always tell people na kung, oops, sorry. I always tell people na kung ikaw ay journalist, hindi pwedeng sensitive ka at hindi pwedeng impressionable ka sa kung anong sinasabi ng ibang tao. Kailangan na you know, if you know that this is what you wanna do, then stick with it. Ang makakapagpabago lang dapat ng isip mo ay na kasi hindi mo na talaga kaya. Kung personal choice mo na ayaw mo na. Pero don't base it on other people's stories. Don't even base it on mine. Try it first for yourself. Dahil baka mamaya yung nakaka-stress sa akin, hindi pa nakaka-stress sa'yo, di ba? Malay mo yung nahihirapan ako, madali for you. So, if you feel na this is where your passion and where your skills lie, at least give it a try na lumabas kayo. Don't be discouraged kung nakikita nyo na nababash yung mga journalists ngayon, yung mga media men, then that's more reason for you to step up and that's more reason for you to step in because we need more. And alam din natin na a lot of journalists are laying low now. Like for example, Miss Jessica, one of our stalwarts in GMA, she just let go of State of the Nation. I think she's enjoying her retirement, ganyan, a little bit more. So, mas kailangan din ng young blood na sumama. Kailangan ng mga bagong reporter na magiging as passionate on the field, mas magiging as excited na lumabas at mag-cover ng mga storya.
Thank you so much po.
Thank you so much po. And that's it. Thank you. That's
Okay,
the interview.
Alright,
I
thank
think
you.
man, excited.
And now let's have the closing for the wrap-up. And that's it. Thank you very much, Miss Mav Gonzales, for being with us and for sharing with us your words of wisdom on what it takes to be a journalist and why aspiring journalists should pursue journalism. And that has been another episode of Hot Seat. For Sir Ron Jacob Unabia, Ma'am Jenny Recapulacion, and IG Orculio, I am Lance Barreto, saying thank you for watching and see you on our next episode. Thank you, keep safe, and goodbye.
Thank you po, Miss Mav.
Thank you, Miss Gonzales.
Thank you po, Miss Mav.
Hopefully po, magkita po tayo sa field. Sure.
Oo nga eh. Sana nga eh. Gusto ko na larga. Char!
Visit us soon, ma'am.
Oo nga eh.
Sana
Sana.
makabisit kayo sa Cebu.
Oo nga
Sana.
eh. Ay nako.
Yeah.
Ingat kayo dyan.